quite frankly, I didn't have the money to rent the U-Haul truck until some weeks later. And as soon as I had the money to be able to do it, I did.
Well, he's not a storage unit. You're not paying him.
But I had paid him through the end of December.
For which you have no proof, because he says you did not pay him.
I do. I have a canceled check.
You have one canceled check for November.
Right.
I'd like to take a look at that check.
Yes, ma'am.
And see whether that check says December's rent.
It says November's rent, ma'am.
Right. And you paid him November's rent on what date?
On the 13th is when I gave him the cash. On the 31st, I gave him the $400.
Just a second. So that what you're telling me is, and what you told me, well, let's get to what you told me earlier about this. What you told me earlier about this was, I paid him December's rent in November. That's what you told me, because that's what the tape will demonstrate on this case. Well, that's a lie. You didn't pay him December's rent in November. You paid November's rent on, this says October.
I paid him in October for November's rent on the 31st, the very last day of October for November. But I had paid him 3 months in advance in cash. And he insisted that I pay him in cash. But I saw that he was kind of shady after a couple months because he started trying to extort more money from me. And so I paid him with a check.
Just a second. You just told me, Miss Lyons, that you moved in the beginning of October, end of September. So I said October 1st. You moved in October 1st and you moved out on December 18th. 30 seconds ago, you just told me you paid him 3 months' rent in advance in cash when you moved in. That would be October, November, and December. And if you paid him 3 months' rent in cash when you moved in, why would you pay him again in October?
Because he was extorting money from me. And he said
Ms. Lyons, I don't believe you, madam, at all.
The truth of the matter is, I saw that he was shady, so I gave him a check. He would not give me any receipts, and I thought if I paid him with a check, then I would at least have that receipt. Well, he took the one check for that month, and then he said, I'll take it this time, but from now on, you pay in cash. Well, I had gone by then.
I don't believe you for a second, because you seem like a very swift lady. And what you said to me a moment ago was, I paid him 3 months' rent in cash when I moved in. You moved in October, November, and December. Then 8 minutes ago, you told me you paid him December's rent in cash because he wouldn't take a check anymore. You gave him a check for November's rent in October. That's what you just told me. Now, were you mistaken when you told me you paid him 3 months' rent in cash up front?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What items do you allege, madam, that he has that belong to you?
He has a whole list of items stemming from a computer hard drive to my designer bags that are missing, shoes, equipment, sleeping bags, tents.
Do you have any of her property?
We don't know what she's talking about. We've never seen this stuff.
He doesn't have any of your property. And you were there 2 times with the police, according to everything that I've read. He has none of your property. And since you didn't think it was important enough to talk to me about the assault, I'm dismissing that part of your complaint that talks about an assault. Now, you left your property, according to you, in his house in December, January, and February, because you didn't go back until mid-February. Is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
That's correct. And your rent was how much?
$400 a month.
Then you owe him $1,200 in rent, because if your stuff's there, you're there, and he doesn't have to wait for you to go get a U-Haul. Madam, it's my job to determine whether people are telling the truth or not. And since you told me 9 different stories in the relatively short period of time that you were there, I don't know what to trust and what not to trust. Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,200, your case is dismissed. That's all.